All right, so the next step in this process is to add our filters. Here in our shop page from the last video, we were able to add or display all of our products here. All right, now the next step is to add our filters in this section here. We're gonna have two filters. There's gonna be a filter for searching, searching by text or keyword. And then the other one's going to be searching by category. So it's going to be checkboxes that you can just check the boxes, and each checkbox that's clicked on, that filter would be applied to it and display us the products based on those checkboxes that you marked. All right, so let's go ahead and start this off. First, we're going to start here. Let's see. We're going to add a filter title with icon. All right, so let's see. Let's go ahead and see where the side section is. All right, so this here where you see the column MD of 3, that is the side section. So we're gonna have all of our UI or all of the additions we're gonna add it here in this section here. All right, so the first thing we want to do is I'm gonna add a div here, and we're gonna set up our title. First, I'm going to add a class name. I'm going to use Bootstrap text muted. And then here, I'm going to say filters. And I'm going to do a span. Because this span, what I'm going to want to do is I want to add a Font Awesome icon. Let's see. What was it called? I think it was Fa. And this was it Spinner? Let me see here. Let's see, Font Awesome Icons filter. What was it called? Let's call it, what was it called? Let's say, search toggles. No, not toggles. Oh, well, the feature does look, yeah, here we go. Something like this. Let's see, sliders. All right, this one right here. All right, so sliders H. So if I click on this, and this is the Font Awesome website. So, all right, so this is what we're gonna use here. So we're gonna use, let's see, actually it's fa sliders -H. All right. So here, fa sliders -H. And if I save that, go back, let's check it out. All right, there we go. You see? That's exactly what I wanted. All right, so now we got our title section for the filters taken care of. All right, so next step is I want to add our search input. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be using Bootstrap. So let's go here and search Bootstrap search. Go to their documentation for navbar. All right, so this, what you see here, this search input box is what I want. So if we go to this given code below, let's see, that would include, I guess, from copy this whole section with the form. Yes. And then also at the end, I'm also going to wrap it around this nav, a nav tag like it does here. But of course, we're going to leave out everything else. All right, so what I'm going to do here is, let me first add my nav bar. Nav, just like this. And I'm going to paste in what I just copied down. And remember, because we're using React, we're going to have to change this from class to class name. So because I'm using Visual Studio Code Editor, what I'm doing is I'm going to highlight this class, and I'm using a Mac, so I'm going to do Command D, which will toggle and add additional classes. So I'm going to add these other three, all three, and just change it to class name. I'm going to save that. Why was it? Oh, wrong. I made a mistake here. Let me remove this form tag from here and place it Yeah, actually it was inside the nav. Why didn't it work? Oh, that's because it didn't work because I have to add this dash here. All right, and that's when you're dealing with React. All right, so there you go. So let's go back. All right, there you go. So now we have our little search input field here. I'm gonna make some adjustments here. So I'm gonna focus on this nav tag. I'm gonna add a class name. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do, let's see, what should I add here? Nav, what do we have? Nav. All right, so I'm gonna copy all this stuff here from the Bootstrap navigation. From the Bootstrap documentation. Copy all this and add this into our nav tag, just like so. If I save that, go back. Okay, that's better. All right, yeah, that's nice. Another thing I'm going to want to do is I also want to add a horizontal line over here on the top. And I want to add some padding as well. So for the nav, again, what we're going to do is I'm going to add border top. And I'm also going to do a padding for top and bottom and left and right sides of 3. If I say that, that's much better. All right, so now we have more room here. Let's see, is that, yeah, that's good. All right, let's see. I'm gonna minimize this to see how it looks on a mobile device, smaller device. All right. I'm thinking about adding a little bit of room here for the filters. So I'm gonna add some margin. Come on. There we go. All right, so for here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do MB for margin bottom, and let me do 2. Let me see how that looks. Okay, that's better. I like that. There you go. Give it a little breathing room there. Yeah. All right, so next step, now that we got the input for our search, we're going to work on our section for categories. All right. So what we're going to do here is, let's see, let's do add a div tag. And we are going to have to bring in our categories. But currently, as you can see, we're not bringing in categories right now, but we do have the action function that we can make use of. So let's go ahead and import that right here. Say get categories from category actions. Next is I'm going to copy this use effect that we used for the products, for fetching products. Do the same for the categories. Get categories. And then finally is we're going to grab it from the Redux store, just like this, using the use selector. Categories. Just like that. All right, so now we should have access to categories. Now we can map around it. So I'm going to say if categories, then map the categories. And here's where we're going to add our individual checkboxes. But to do that, again, we're going to be using Bootstrap. So I'm going to do Bootstrap checkboxes. All right, so we're gonna have checkboxes like this, but in this example, all I need is one of the form checks, so we don't have to copy all of it, just one of these, and go back, and inside here, I'm gonna paste it, and again, I'm gonna highlight all the classes to change it to class name. So I'm do Command D on a Mac. So do class name, and because we're using React, we're gonna have to change this input field by adding this /, otherwise you're gonna see an error. All right, and if I save that, let's see, this should work. If we go back, let's see. All right, let me refresh this page, and what do we get? All right, looks like we got an error here. What do we have an error? All right. Oh yes. All right, I forgot to focus on the code, on the notes here. All right, so let's mark off what we did here. So we have add filter title with the icon. We took care of that. Set up search input field. Did that. Call use effect and use selector for retrieving all categories. We did that. And set category input field. Yes, that's actually what we're working on now. But here, if you look at this error here in the console, and this is one of the reasons why I always, like, as I'm doing this coding this with you guys, I always have the console open just in case some errors do end up popping up, such as in this case, so I can address it in the moment that it shows up and help me debug. So as you can see here, saying that we have 401 unauthorized. Now the reason for that is a while back when we were using our get category, when we were setting up our get categories action function to fetch our categories on the admin side, I ended up, what I did was, here, let me show you. I'm going to collapse the client side folder, and if I go to the back end of routes and click on a category, the category file, you can see that this route on the back end that makes use of retrieving all the categories is using this middleware here that we generated, that we created earlier, which is called Authenticate JWT. So this middleware, what it does is it's checking that the user is signed out, or the admin is signed, or the admin is that the user is authenticated, I mean they're signed in. All right, but in this case, there's no reason to have authentication. I mean, all we're doing is reading the categories from the back end. So I'm not sure why I ended up doing it, but it's not a big deal. But we can fix this. All we have to do is remove this middleware, and then now at this point, we can just fetch the categories whether we're on the whether we're signed in as admin on the back end doing some administration stuff, or if we're just a regular user, regardless, it doesn't matter. We're just reading categories. All right, so remove this middleware, and that's it. So if I do that and I save this and go back, I'm going to reload the page. Okay, you see, well, the error, that error goes away, but now we got another error, and this one is this was because we have to add the key prop. Remember, when we map around anything, when we're using React, such as here, right, we're mapping around the categories, we're gonna have to add the key property, right? So that's what we have to do here. We have to add this tag, this div tag with a key. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do c._id. So I'm making use of, remember here, we're calling it each category by C. So I'm going to have the key as the category and _ID. And you could also do, if you want to do c.category, which is the category name, you could do that too, because the category name is going to be unique in itself. All right, so if I save that, go back, I'm going to refresh. Okay, now the other error went away, but now we get a new error. And this one, it says invalid DOM property 4. Did you mean HTML4? All right, no, this is really useful, this error message. It pretty much tells you straight up like what it is, the error. So because we're using React, we have to make a little change here. So that involves this label here where you see we have the 4 property. So for React, we have to change that to HTML and then capital letter 4. Save that. Go back and let's see. All right. You checked a check prop to form field without on-change handler. Okay. All right. Let's see here. All right. That's on line 53. All right, so that's here. All right, so just remove this for now. We don't need this at the moment. Just remove that, the checked property, and then the error goes away. So now we're clean. All right, so now the console is good. We're good to go. And here you can see now that we have all of our checkboxes here with their checkboxes. But obviously, this is not what we want. We want the checkboxes with the appropriate category name. So all we have to do here is between the label, remove the checked checkbox and add our C dot category. So category is the property on the database, which is for the category name. If we save that, go back. Now you can see we have all of our categories labeled right here. All right, so on the database side, if we go there, these are all the categories that we currently have in the database. And if we went to sign in as an admin and added a new category, dynamically it would add that category here. All right, so that's good. That's working. All right, so next step is, let's go back here, set category input field. All right, and we also remove this authenticate JWT middleware. All right, so we took care of everything. Just one little thing I want to do here, because yeah, I want to add a little styling here. I'm just gonna add a little background color to this, and also add a border to the top here and the bottom, so to create some separation between the filters, so you can distinguish these as separate. It's just more visual for me. All right, so let's go ahead to the shop. And we'll take care of that here. The div tag that wraps around all of our categories. We're going to add our class name. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do, let's see here. We're going to do border top and border bottom. Save that. Let's see what we get. All right, you see we got our lines here, horizontal lines, which is nice. Next, I want to add a background color of light. Save, go back. You see now we got a little subtle, you see that little grayish type of color. That's good. And next step that I want to do is create some breathing room here, create some padding. So I'm going to do some padding for both the top, bottom, left, and right. And it's going to be a value of 3. Save that. And now that looks nice. All right. There you go. So that's it. So I'm going to minimize this just to see how they look on different devices. You can see as we get smaller, the screen size. Let's see. There you go. Very nice. All right. All right. There you go. All right. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to disable this. Nah, I'll leave that for now like that. All right. All right. There you go. So now we have everything we need. So we have the actual filters for the search and our checkboxes. The only thing is right now there's no functionality, right? The idea is that, for example, for the search box, if I was to add, say, pizza, at this moment, as I'm adding pizza, the right side, which is displaying our products, should change. There would be a request made to the backend, which would fetch all of the products that are pizza related, and it would display here. And then if I was to remove, like, say empty out our search field just like that, then everything would reset and it would show us all our products, such as what it does by default when you arrive to this page, what it's doing right now. All right. And then for the categories, the same thing is that if we were to click on burgers, right, we have to get it to to display burgers at that moment once we check it. And if we could also check multiple, so if I check burgers and say pizza, so we have burgers and pizza, the displayment of these products would be burgers and pizza. And then there you go. And then you could also remove. All right, so that's it. So we'll take care of adding that functionality in the next lecture.